Good morning. Good morning, people. Hello. It's 7 a.m. in London right now. It's pitch black outside because the sun never rises in this country. Anyway, I had a really simple idea I wanted to share with you. So, now, there's this thing, right, that I've realized over the last year or two, right? And that's to do with taking portraits of people. Now, why is it that when you see a person, right, you see some photos of people, and they're usually taken by professional photographers, but not always, right? Also, it's like, and also like when you see, say, like, a documentary photographer, for instance, and he goes into some war-torn country and he takes photos of these civilians and stuff like that, and you get these incredible portraits of, like a woman or a child or something, and they're just sitting there, and they're not an actor, right? They've never probably had their photo taken before, but they sit there and they really just look at the camera. And when you look at this photo, it's like, sure, it's one thing for a photographer to know about the lighting and stuff like that, but when you're taking photos of people, that's a different ballgame. It can be, right? Because what is it that makes a photo really look at you? Like when you see a portrait of a person, it doesn't have to be like just necessarily like a photograph of a person. It could be like a painting, right? Why is it that some of these portraits that are like really, really amazing, why is it when you look at them, it's like the person in that photo is like, he's real, they're real. And it's like, you look at that and that is interesting to look at. And I'll tell you what I've realized, right? And it's dead simple. You could be super complicated about this, right? Super complicated. You could write a whole book on this, right? But the simplicity of it is that to take a good portrait of someone, you need to get them to communicate to the camera or to you as the photographer. Now, let me just go into some kind of societal statement for a second. But most people, I won't say most people, but a lot of people, they how can I stay politically correct for a second here? Most people have a hard time being themselves. Okay, I'm just going to say that, right? Especially when you get the camera out, right? I mean, how many people have said they don't like their photo being taken, right? They just don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. Well, if you take a photo of a person when they're feeling like that, guaranteed, doesn't matter how professional your lighting setup is or your camera is or anything like that, the portrait won't say anything. It won't talk to you. You look at it and it's like, oh, gee, that person is just kind of like never wanted to be photographed in the first place. But see, the key is, right? This is just a simple tip. If you want to take a good photo of a person, you have to get them into a comfort zone that they're really just like, they're cool being there with you. Right? This is sometimes why, like, candid photos, like photos when the person's not expecting it, are sometimes the best photos, rather than a super controlled, okay, now sit like this, and now turn your head just a little bit more, like just something. Sometimes that works if you really know your stuff, but say if you do like street photography or whatever, you need to use a bit of charisma as a photographer. You need to make that person feel comfortable in your presence, so they can just sit there and they can be there, and they can just look at you. Not even necessarily look straight in the camera. They could be veering off, looking something like that. But you've seen those photos, right, where you just see a person sitting and thinking, and you're like, wow, he's really thinking about something. Or it's like a sad girl, and she's just staring in the camera with like a teary eye look, and you're just like, wow, I really feel that emotion. It's because they're saying something. They're not talking, but their look says it all. It's exactly the same if you see a really good movie where, apparently the actors are really good at acting. They might be acting, or they might just freaking be saying something. It's a little bit of magic right there. A little bit of spiritual human magic, right? And if you can get good at capturing that, then you can be a really good portrait photographer. I've been practicing like this myself for like the last year. And it's just like, it's quite simple. It's not difficult. You just got to understand people a bit more and how like human relations and all this kind of stuff works. La, la, la. I don't want to overcomplicate this, but that's the truth. So, I don't know. Try talking to people. Try having like a deep and meaningful conversation with someone. And just have your camera sitting there. And when you see a moment where they're just kind of like, they're really there. They're really thinking about something. They really want to say something. And then you just go, snip. Try it. You might be surprised what you get.